In this video, I will demonstrate a provisional cast-on edge for use in Entrelac knitting. If you're a subscriber, welcome back. If you're new to my channel, welcome. I'm happy to have you here. If you enjoy this video, please give it a like and consider subscribing. Don't forget to hit that notification bell so you get a notice each time I go live or post a new video. Entrelac knitting is a type of knitting that is a modular form of knitting that forms a tier of blocks and reverses directions and forms another tier of blocks up above. One of the tricky parts of Entrelac knitting is getting a cast-on edge along the bottom edge that is stretchy enough to accommodate the knitting that happens on the bias there. One really nice looking edge that you can get for this cast-on edge is to use a provisional cast-on for working that first set of bottom triangles. There's a little bit of a trick to it. You can't use just any provisional cast-on, however. This is what our finished edge will look like when we are done with the provisional edge and we've worked a couple of tiers in our Entrelac. So let me show you how to work this. In order for this provisional cast-on edge to work with Entrelac knitting, you have to use a type of provisional cast-on that uses waste yarn to produce your live cast-on stitches. You cannot use a provisional cast-on method that results in the working yarn having live stitches for your cast-on row. So the one I like to use is the chained cast-on worked over a knitting needle. So I made a slip knot, I placed it on my crochet hook. I will hold my knitting needle parallel with the yarn underneath, and I'm going to just yarn over the needle and the hook and pull a loop up. Like so. And these can be as loose. They should be fairly loose. They shouldn't be tight, but they can be as loose as you want because this waste yarn will be removed when our Entrelac knitting is complete. So you will cast on the desired number of stitches. Using the hook over the needle with waste yarn. Find. For this demonstration, I want 18 stitches. That last one, I will place the loop from the hook on the needle as my last stitch. Now I will cut the waste yarn, and that is my cast on. Now I will join my working yarn, and I will begin working my Entrelac pattern. For this pattern, I'm going to start with knitting 2. And I'm going to mirror knit for my wrong side rows. So purl 2, that one's loose, and then knit 3. I will link to my mirror knit video above if you need a refresher. 3. Four, and purl 4. knit 5, purl 5, and then knit 6, and then knit 2, purl 2, and so on across the row. My first tier is complete. I need to leave this waste yarn cast on in place for the time being. Otherwise, I will lose stitches. But while we create the next tier of blocks, we will begin to secure some of these loops as we pick up stitches. You'll see that in 1 second. So I will cut my working yarn and join my new color for my next block of stitches. Because this is a side triangle, I need to work an increase at the edge, and then on my return row, I need to work a decrease of the last stitch in the blue together with the stitch of the yellow. Now I need to pick up stitches along the edge of this base triangle. I'm going to turn it to the wrong side so I can tension the yarn with my right hand. When using this cast on method, then when you pick up stitches, so I need to pick up 6 stitches. And because I have the wrong side facing, I'm going to pick them up purlwise, 1 selvage stitch in, let me get closer to the corner here with that first pickup. You need to be sure that you do not pick up this waste yarn at all. If you do, it will ruin your ability to remove the waste yarn. So when you pick up a stitch close to that cast on edge, you can get as close as possible to the cast on, but don't grab any of that waste yarn. So I'm going to go all the way down here to this loop of these loops of stitches right above. So if I turn it to the right side, I'm going to go in right there. And this is what helps to anchor this edge. You're securing these live loops that would otherwise, when you remove the provisional cast on, they would otherwise produce live loops of stitches that would unravel. But I've just secured that loop by picking up right above that waste yarn. So I'm going to turn it to the right side to resume working with the right side facing me. I have my 6 stitches. So this is an intact block rectangle for my Entrelac. So no increases worked. And on the return row, on this edge, I will be joining the blue stitch to the yellow stitch. Technically, these are wrong side rows, so that would be a purl 2 together. Right here. Work those 2 together, with the blue stitch ending up on top. All right, one more rectangle pickup here. So again, I will turn it to the wrong side and begin picking up my 6 loops. And I want to get that very last little loop there right above the cast on so that I can secure that loop there. So right there, that would be a live loop right here. And by picking up, I've secured it. Now I will repeat that same rectangle. I've completed that second rectangle and I'm ready to pick up stitches along this last triangle, which was our first triangle after we cast on. So here is where one of the tricks with using this cast on method comes in. I am going to pick up all but one of the stitches that I need along this edge. And I need 6 stitches along this edge for the pattern that I'm doing. 3, 4, 5. Get as close down there as I can, right there. All right. And I'm going to undo the cast on right here because it's going to reveal a live loop. Right here, and that stitch I need to knit into it or place it on my needle as my 6th stitch, like so. And now I don't need to, but I can remove the rest of the cast on. And you'll see if everything was done correctly. Undo that slip knot and pull that out. And stretch. And then I can kind of play with the tension here along these stitches. To get them not quite so loopy. And stretch. And the cast on edge then is nice and stretchy and has no visible cast on edge. And with blocking it would look even nicer. So I've worked one more set of rectangles so that you could get a little bit better idea of what this would look like. It's a very stretchy edge. So if you are working entrelac and you need the cast on edge to be nice and stretchy, then this is an option for you. If, however, you need some sturdiness there, then I would recommend still using a very stretchy cast on with the working yarn and not using this method. But this is a great method for when you want a super stretchy edge along the Entrelac cast on edge. Just a note, if you are working on the TKGA Master Knitter program, the Entrelac swatch in level 3, this approach will likely not work for that swatch because you have to follow the directions and this would be deviating from the directions. But otherwise, this is a really great option for an Entrelac cast on. So that was a provisional cast on method for working Entrelac. I hope this was helpful. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and thank you so much for watching.